let us improve our skills on map pointing. Study of maps is very important in our daily life. Let us examine the history and importance of map study along with the important map pointing questions in Social Paper 1 of Andhra Pradesh State Syllabus. Now let us have an idea about what is a map. Map is a representation of Earth's features drawn on a flat surface. It is not like photograph. Maps cannot show what the land actually look like. But maps are using symbols and colors to represent the features of an area. Now let us have a small idea about the history of cartography. Cartography is the process of making maps by displaying a specific geographical area on a flat surface such as paper or a computer screen. The history of mapping can be traced to more than 5000 years ago. The earliest surviving maps include cave paintings and etchings on tusk and stone. The Greeks are credited with the putting map making on a sound mathematical footing. The earliest Greek known to have made the map of the world was Anaximander. The names associated with the Indian map makers are Maharshi Vedavyasa, the writer of Mahabharata, Eratosthenes, Ptolemy, William Lambton, George Everest, James Runnel, etc. The first modern map of India was produced by Survey of India, established in 1767 by the British East India Company. The National Survey and Mapping Organization of India, under the Department of Science and Technology, is the authority in India who publishes the official map of India. India had officially published a new map on November 2, 2019, representing the political boundaries of the country, which showed the status of the newly created Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. With the advent of satellite, GPS combined with computer software made highly detailed and accurate maps possible. Modern applications like Google Earth, Cloud GIS tools, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, etc. provide accurate maps. Nowadays, the people are commonly using these maps for navigation, and these maps provide turn by turn voice guided instructions on how to arrive a given destination. Now let us learn about the five elements of any map. Although they may seem complicated at first glance, any map worth using can be broken down into five basic elements: title, legend, compass, scale, and the grid system, that is, latitude and longitudes. The first one, the title, indicates the theme of the map, explaining what is represented in the image you see. Second one, map key, that is known as legend, contains a list of different symbols or colors next to brief explanation of what each symbol means. The third one, a small but important part of each map is the directional reference, known as compass or compass rose. Its purpose is to distinguish north from south and east from west. The fourth one, the map scale, usually appears as a series of lines taken from a ruler and added to the page in one corner with a label of the specific units of measurements used. And finally, the fifth one, the grid, allows for an accurate two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional or spherical planet. The vertical lines running through this grid are referred to as the lines of longitude, with the prime meridian known as the zero longitude. The horizontal grid lines, on the other hand, known as the lines of latitude, runs east to west like a belt around the earth, with the equator being considered as the zero of latitude. Here we are going to study about the map key. Map key is nothing but the symbols used in maps which make the map meaningful. So here are lots of symbols are given here. Go through that. And when we point something on a map, we should use these symbols to make the map pointing meaningful. Some important keys we will discuss here. The mountain range, we use the group of triangles that we use. We can point like this or we can point out like this. Another highest elevation is pointed out by a plus symbol. Rivers are pointed out by blue nonlinear lines and its direction will be according to the flow of the river. Then national capital city, a star in a circle. Then a city is pointed out using a black big dot. Then a small town is pointed out by a small circle. Then this is the symbol used for highways. Then another this for the railway road. Then airport is pointed out by an into mark. Then plateaus like this, lakes like this, again rivers. Then border between countries we use dark colors and border between states we use light colors. And a triangle symbol is used to denote the peak. Then a dam is pointed out like this, a triangle divided by small lines. Then another important symbol used in the map is the compass rose. So we have to use these kinds of symbols when we point out on the maps. There are several types of maps available in the world, but the most important three types of maps are discussed here. They are political maps, physical maps, and thematic maps. Political maps shows boundaries of countries, states, cities, etc. The physical maps shows natural features like lakes, mountains, plateaus, etc. They show the physical features of an area. The thematic map is constructed based on some themes like population, climate, vegetation, natural resource, etc. Now let us learn about the grid system. Here you can see the picture. Here vertical and horizontal lines together they form small squares. So a grid is something which is in a pattern of straight lines that cross over each other forming squares. On maps, the grid is used to find the exact location of a particular thing or place. The latitudes and longitudes are commonly referred to as geographical coordinates as they provide systematical network of lines upon which the position of various surface features of the earth can be represented. With the help of these coordinates, location, distance and direction of various points can be easily determined. That means by combining the latitudes and longitudes, any location can be pinpointed on a map. Another important concept that we have to learn is sphere and hemisphere. Sphere means a round solid figure just like the shape of a ball. Half of the sphere is known as hemisphere. The shape of the earth is considered as sphere and on the basis of latitude we divide the earth into two equal halves. We got northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere then. Look at the picture in the same way on the basis of longitudes the earth is divided into two equal halves. Then we get western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. Now let us learn about latitudes. Latitude is the measurement of distance north or south of the equator. Lines joining places with the same latitude are called parallels. The value of the equator is 0 degree and the latitude of the poles are 90 degree north and 90 degree south. There are totally 180 latitudes in the globe. Look at the picture. Here you can see the 0 degree latitude, that is equator, and from the equator to the north pole there are 90 degrees and 90 latitudes, and to the south also there are 90 latitudes. So altogether there are 180 latitudes. Now let us learn about longitudes. The longitudes are imaginary lines that run around the earth vertically up and down and meet at the north and south poles. The meridians or longitudes are semicircles that converge at the poles. If the opposite meridians are taken together, they complete a circle, but they are valued separately as two meridians. The longitude of a place is its angular distance east or west of the prime meridian. It is also measured in degrees. The longitudes vary from 0 degree to 180 degree eastward and westward of the prime meridian. There are 360 longitudes on the globe. Look at the picture. Here you can see the middlemost longitude, that is the 0 degree longitude, that is known as prime meridian. From the prime meridian to the east side, there are 180 longitudes are there. And from the prime meridian to the west side also, there are 180 degrees are there. So 180 longitudes are there. So totally 180 plus 180, there are 360 longitudes are there on the globe. Now let us have a small comparison between longitudes and latitudes. Longitude is a measurement of distance east or west of the prime meridian, whereas the latitude is the measurement of the distance north or south of the equator. The longitudes involves meridians, which are imaginary vertical lines that run across the globe. On the other hand, the latitudes involves meridians, which are imaginary horizontal lines that run across the globe. There are 360 meridians. That means there are 360 longitudes. But on the other hand, there are only 180 parallels or latitudes. The line of 0 degree is the prime meridian according to longitude, whereas the 0 degree latitude is known as equator. Now let us have an idea about the location of India. Here from this picture you can see that India is on the northern hemisphere on the base of latitude, as India is on the top of equator. When we take the longitude, India is on the eastern hemisphere. Now let us see the exact location and grid of India. India lies in between 68 degrees 7 minutes and 97 degree 25 minutes eastern longitudes and 8 degree 4 minutes and 37 degree 6 minutes northern latitudes. That is the grid of India. India is exactly located in between these longitudes and latitudes. When we study about longitudes, it is very important to study about IST, that is the 82.5 degree eastern longitude, and it is the longitude that passes through the middle of India. The full form of IST is Indian Standard Time, as it is the base of Indian time. Now you may be asked to point IST or 82.5 degree eastern longitude, then draw a line through the middle of India vertically as shown in this picture. One of the important map pointing question from this area is that to locate which main city the IST passes. Then you have to point Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. Next question that can be asked from this area is that through which city in AP it passes. Then you have to point Kakinada. And one of the important question that may come from this area is that which states of India IST passes through. Look at the map and you can see that it passes through 5 states. They are Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. Now let us learn about the important latitude that passes through the middle of India. It is the Tropic of Cancer. The important map pointing question that can be asked from this area is that through which states of India the Tropic of Cancer passes. There are 8 states. If we start from the west side, Gujarat, it is followed by Rajasthan, then Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tripura and Mizoram. So, Tropic of Cancer passes through these states. Now we are going to learn about one of the most important area of mapping skills is that of the political map of India. Being a citizen of India, we should have a little bit of knowledge about the political map of India, which is having 28 states and 8 union territories. Definitely, you will get a question from this one. Let us learn about the states and union territories and their capitals in alphabetical order. The first state is Andhra Pradesh and its capital is Amaravati. The second state is Arunachal Pradesh with a capital Itanagar. And the third state is Assam and the capital is Dispur. The fourth state is Bihar and its capital is Patna. The fifth state is Chhattisgarh and its capital is Raipur. The sixth state is Goa and its capital is Panaji. The seventh state is Gujarat and its capital is Gandhinagar. The eighth state is Haryana and its capital is Chandigarh. Ninth state is Himachal Pradesh and its capital is Shimla. The 10th state is Jharkhand and its capital is Ranchi. The 11th state is Karnataka and its capital is Bengaluru. Formerly it was known as Bangalore. The 12th state is Kerala and its capital is Trivandrum. It is popularly known as Thiruvananthapuram. The 13th state is Madhya Pradesh and its capital is Bhopal. The 14th state is Maharashtra and its capital is Mumbai. The 15th state is Manipur and its capital is Imphal. The 16th state is Meghalaya and its capital is Shillong. The 17th state is Mizoram and its capital is Aizawl. The 18th state is Nagaland and its capital is Kohima. The 19th state is Odisha and its capital is Bhubaneswar. The 20th state is Punjab and its capital is Chandigarh. The Punjab and Haryana are having the same capital, Chandigarh. The 21st state is Rajasthan and its capital is Jaipur. The 22nd state is Sikkim and its capital is Gangtok. The 23rd state is Tamil Nadu and its capital is Chennai. The 24th state is Telangana and its capital is Hyderabad. The 25th state is Tripura and its capital is Agartala. The 26th state is Uttar Pradesh and its capital is Lucknow. The 27th state is Uttarakhand and its capital is Dehradun. And the 28th state is West Bengal and its capital is Kolkata, and it is in the alphabetical order. Now let us move to the union territories. There are 8 union territories. The first one, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and its capital is Port Blair. The second one, Chandigarh, and its capital is Chandigarh itself. The third one, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. The capital is Daman. The fourth one, Delhi, and its capital is New Delhi. The fifth one, Lakshadweep, and its capital is Kavaratti. The sixth one, Puducherry, and its capital is Pondicherry. And the seventh one, Jammu and Kashmir, with a summer capital Srinagar and the winter capital Jammu. And the eighth union territory is Ladakh with the capital Leh. So you have to learn how to point out each and every state on a blank map, and also we have to learn about the each and every state's capitals also along with the union territories. So by heart this one to get more marks. Now let us have a small idea about the India's physical map. India's physical features are divided into six. They are the Himalayas, Indo-Gangetic Plain, the Peninsular Plateau, the coastal plains, the desert, and the islands. Now look at this map. On the northern side, there is Himalayas. And below that one, there is Indo-Gangetic Plain. You can see here in the map, this green color. Then the Peninsular Plateau, otherwise it is known as Deccan Plateau. It is a triangular plateau on India map. Then the coastal plains. We have two coastal plains are there. One is on the west side, they are known as Western Coastal Plains, and one is on the eastern side, that is the Eastern Coastal Plains. Then the desert, it is in the state of Rajasthan. Then the islands, we have two island groups are there. One is on the west side, that is known as Lakshadweep, and one is on the Bay of Bengal, that is known as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We will discuss about each of them in detail in the second part of the mapping skills. Now let us have a small idea about the National Highway Network of India. Here you can see in the map there are so many national highways are present in India, and in India National Highways Authority of India NHAI was set up in the year 1988, and it is responsible for the development, maintenance and management of the highways in India. Now let us see which is the longest national highway in India. It is National Highway 44. NH 44 is the longest national highway in India, and in this map you can see all the national highways in India. Just go through that one. Sometimes some questions may be asked from this area also. India is a country with a huge network of roads. Here the national highways are given in this map with their numbers. Just go through the important national highways in India and locate them on blank map of India and practice that one. And here in this table you can see the important longest national highways in India. Here 11 numbers are given here, but more number of highways are present in India. Here only the longest 11 national highways and their numbers are given. The number 1, that is the longest national highway in India, is NH 44 with a distance of 3745 kilometers. It is from Srinagar to Kanyakumari. Next, number 2 position goes to National Highway 27, NH 27 with a distance of 3507 kilometers. It is from Porbandar in Gujarat to Silchar in Assam. First one is a vertical road and the second one is a horizontal national highway. So next, the third one is NH 48 with a distance of 2807 kilometers. It is from Delhi to Chennai. So the other important national highways, you just go through that one and learn how to point that in a blank map of India. Now let us move to another important area, that is the railways. Here you can see the map of Indian railway zones, and there are 17 railway zones in India, and in this table you can see the 17 zones in India, and sometimes some questions may be asked from this area also, the railway routes. So we have to find which are the important cities, and between that railway line we have to draw. And also here in this map you can see all the 17 railway zones in India. The first one, Central Railway. Second one, East Central Railway. Third one, East Coast Railway. Fourth one, Eastern Railway. Fifth one, Konkan Railway. Sixth one, North Central Railway. Seventh one, North Eastern Railway. Eighth one, North Western Railway. Ninth one, Northeast Frontier Railway. 10th one, Northern Railway. 11th one, South Central Railway. 12th one, South East Central Railway. 13th, South Eastern Railway. 14th, South Western Railway. 15th, Southern Railway. 16th, West Central Railway. And 17th, Western Railway. Now let us study about the important dams in India. The important questions that may be asked from this area are Bakranangal Dam. That is the second highest dam in India. Its height is 226 meters. So we have to point out this here. Next, Tehri Dam. It is the tallest dam in India. Its height is 260.5 meters. It is near to the Bakranangal Dam. Next, Sardar Sarovar Dam. It is the Narmada River Valley project, and you can see it is in the Maharashtra state. It is pointed out here. Next, Hirakud Dam. It is the longest dam in India, approximately 4.88 kilometers long. So, this is the location of Hirakud Dam. Next, Koyana Dam. So, this is the location of the Koyana Dam. Next, Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. See, it is here located. Next, Tungabhadra Dam. This is the location of the Tungabhadra Dam. We have learned about different types of maps. And in our daily life, these maps are very useful. Now let us see what are the uses of maps. Maps help us to understand roads and subways at new places, to calculate distance between two places, to know whether there are two or more paths to the same place and which is the shortest. We can get information about mountains, rivers, valleys, or any other thing which may come on the way, and we can prepare for that. We can get the information like height of the place or ups and downs on the road, boundaries of the land to define ownership. Places like houses, farmhouses, mines can be shown on the map. We can also mark crops, weather reports, directions of wind, rainfall on the maps. Government needs the map to keep the record of the land owners. So there are several uses of the maps, and in our daily life also we met with a lot of incidents where we use map for several purposes. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Here we can see two thematic maps, and they are examples for the usage of maps in daily life. The first one is taken from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which shows the COVID-19 active cases in India on 19th March 2021. This map helps us to understand which states are highly affected by COVID-19. We are all suffering with the pandemic COVID-19, and this maps gives an idea about the active cases in India, and we can plan according to that our journeys, like that if we want to go to some places, we can see that that area is highly affected or not. By using this map we will understand, so that we can avoid such kind of places and we can select new places where COVID cases are less, and we can go to that places also. So the map is very useful. The second map shows about the lockdown situation in India. How many states follow the full lockdown and how many states follow partial lockdown and which states do not follow lockdown. These informations are given in this map. So these are also very useful for collecting information or getting information, and through which we can plan our journeys and everything. Another thing, it provides a lot of information. What is the total case in each and every state? So for that also we want to have a little bit of knowledge about the maps. Thus, maps helps us in several ways. This is only an example. This is only one example. There are several these kinds of examples we can see where maps are used in different ways, especially about agricultural productivity, what kind of crops are produced in our country. So and so information we can plot on Indian maps also, or in the world map also can provide these types of information. Dear children, hope you understood this session very well. And don't forget that practice makes man perfect. So practice this session again and again. And thank you for